Hi, I'm Abby Winters-bona. The elementary school I did my observation hours in is a suburban school primarily made up of middle-class families. I was able to observe students in kindergarten through sixth grade. There are 511 students in grades K through 6. There are 239 boys and 272 girls. There are 334 white students, 1 American Indian Alaskan Native, 93 students are Asian or Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, 24 students are Hispanic or Latino, 26 students are Black and African American, and 3 students are multiracial. %13 of the students are English language learners. 8% of students have disabilities. 27% students are considered economically disadvantaged. Approximately 24% of the students qualify for free and reduced lunch. This school's library has a fixed schedule. Kindergarten through second grade have 30-minute library period once in a 6-day rotation. Grades 3 through 6 have a 60-minute library period once in a 6-day rotation. The last 15 minutes of every grade's library time is a book exchange. Students receive an effort and conduct grade for library. I chose to use the school library media program evaluation rubric for this placement. I chose to focus on 6 essential elements: collaborative planning, reading, staffing, resources and materials, budget, and facilities. Collaborative planning. Students are encouraged to become lifelong learners through the collaboration and coordination of the library media program with classrooms and the community. I would consider this program to be basic for this element for a number of reasons. There is very little collaboration between the librarian and classroom teachers, despite numerous attempts on the librarian's part. There are a few things that do make it challenging for the librarian to collaborate. The library does have a fixed schedule, which makes it difficult for the librarian to find time to work with classroom teachers. She did inquire about a change to the schedule, but the principal told her she would only be okay with it if she could convince the teachers to change. But at this point, she has not been able to convince the teachers. The teachers also may not necessarily consider her or recognize her as a person to collaborate with, but more as a person who could provide them with the resources they need. She recently ordered grammar books because some of the teachers requested them, and she's been slowly ordering new biographies because several grade levels do biography projects. Reading. Students have high levels of reading literacy and become independent, lifelong readers. I believe this library program would be considered distinguished for this element. This is evident in numerous ways. The librarian runs a Newbery Awards book club for any 5th and 6th graders who want to participate. The librarian chooses books that she thinks might be a contender for the Newbery Award, and the students read them together. After the students have read all the books, they have discussions and ultimately vote on which book they feel should win. The last 3 years, the librarian has partnered up with the reading teachers and the PTA to participate in the One School, One Book program. They chose a book for the entire school to read. The PTA were able to purchase the book for every student in the school. During the school day, the teachers read the book to their classes, but since each student had their own book, they were able to continue reading at home. The librarian and reading teachers created different activities based on the book for each grade level. One year, they ran a One School, One Author program as well. There were different books for different grade levels, but they were all written by one author. That year, the program ended with a visit from the author. For these programs, the librarian also had teachers volunteer to record themselves reading a chapter. She then posted the recordings to a website that families were able to access outside of school time. The librarian also orders books based on student requests. Staffing. Student learning is increased through access to certified library media specialists and well-qualified support staff. I feel this library would be considered distinguished for this element. I do have to note, though, one criteria for this was a ratio of 1 per 500 students. This school does have 511 students, but I did feel that 11 extra students weren't significant enough to affect the school. This elementary school has a full-time certified librarian and a full-time library clerk. Resources and materials. I feel this elementary school library would be considered distinguished for this element. There are approximately 20,000 books in the collection. The librarian runs a collection analysis through Tidal Wave, which can give her information such as how old certain sections are or how many books are in each area. This also can help with figuring out which parts of the collection need to be weeded and new books purchased. On average, the librarian weeds out about 1,000 books each year. The library uses an online catalog, Overdrive and Sora, and has numerous databases available for their students. Budget. I feel this elementary school library would be considered distinguished for this element. The library budget for books is approximately $12,000 a year. The librarian also explores different funding sources to support the program. She recently applied for and received a grant to start a makerspace. The PTA has also purchased books for all the students for the One School, One Book program. Facility. I feel this program would be considered proficient. The library is not large enough to be able to be used by more than one class at a time. It's also used during state testing, and the librarian must travel to the individual classrooms during their library times on these dates. Granted, this is only 6 days or so out of a school year, and due to building constraints that are out of the librarian's control. The library recently received new tables and chairs that can be easily moved to create different groupings. The library also has its own projector and smart board in this area. There's a separate area in the library used for read-alouds. The school library has fun and inviting displays for the collection. There are dedicated areas for different genres. The library also has space to keep their class set of Chromebooks, as well as the few laptops that they do have for student use. I believe this is a very strong library program. There are a lot of resources and technology available to the program. The librarian is very enthusiastic. The school community recognizes the importance of reading. I do feel that there needs to be more collaboration between the school librarian and the classroom teachers, which would make this a truly phenomenal library program. Thanks.